everyone, thank you for joining us today. I'm Elisabeth Jones from the Microsoft 365 marketing team, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Eric Wayne from our office engineering team. Today, we're here to give you some general guidance and practical tips to help you get your organization ready for the wave of end-of-support milestones coming up next October. Let's start with the basics. What is end-of-support, and how might it affect your organization? Well, three big things happen when a Microsoft product reaches end-of-support. First, Microsoft will no longer issue any security updates or fixes for the product. Continuing to use software that's not getting security updates can expose your devices and data to security risks and could also impact your ability to meet your compliance requirements. Second, out-of-support products no longer receive feature updates, and that includes fixes for any bugs that might pop up in the future. Over time, this can start to impact user productivity as the software becomes less stable. Finally, after end of support, Microsoft no longer provides phone, chat, or email support for any new technical issues that arise. For all of these reasons, it's crucial to upgrade to a supported version before the support period ends. Which brings us to what's happening next year. On October 14th, 2025, support will end for both Office 2016 and Office 2019, along with a whole bunch of other products released around the same time. If your organization is still running any of these products, the time to get to a supported version is now. In this session, we'll be focusing mainly on Office, but we'll also touch briefly on the paths forward for Exchange, Skype for Business, Visio, and Project. If you're looking for guidance on Windows 10 end of support and what's next for Windows, be sure to check out all the great sessions dedicated to those topics at this year's Ignite. The basic options you have for getting to a supported configuration before end of support are to move to the cloud or stay on-prem. For most organizations, the best option will be to transition to the cloud with Microsoft 365, which never goes out of support. But if you do have devices or scenarios that need to stay off the internet or can't take regular feature updates, then moving to the latest on-premises version is also a solid alternative path. Let's take a closer look at the upgrade paths for each of the products reaching end of support in October 2025, starting with Office 2016 and Office 2019. The latest cloud-backed Office apps are offered under the name Microsoft 365 Apps, which is available on its own or as part of several larger suites. Microsoft 365 Apps offers premium versions of familiar apps like Word and Excel, plus newer additions like Forms and Sway. For devices that can't move to the cloud, the latest on-premises version of Office is Office LTSC 2024, which launched just last month. For Exchange Server versions that are going out of support, your cloud path is going to be to migrate to Exchange Online, either on its own or as part of a broader Microsoft 365 deployment. If you need to keep your email infrastructure on-prem, the recommended path is to upgrade to Exchange Server Subscription Edition when it becomes available in the second half of next year, and to start now by upgrading to Exchange Server 2019 if you're not already there. The recommended path for Skype for Business Server 2015 or 2019 is to move to the cloud with Microsoft Teams. Customers with fewer than 300 seats can get Teams on its own or as part of any Microsoft 365 business suite. Larger customers will need to buy Microsoft Teams Enterprise or a Teams EEA as a standalone. As a fallback for customers who can't go to the cloud, we'll also have Skype for Business Server Subscription Edition launching in the second half of next year. And to make sure you're ready, as with Exchange, we recommend getting to the 2019 version as soon as possible. Finally, for Visio and Project, the most full-featured, cloud-backed desktop versions are available through Visio Plan 2 and Planner and Project Plan 3. Basic web versions of both Visio and Planner are also included in all Microsoft 365 commercial plans. For customers who can't move to the cloud, the latest on-premises versions of these two apps are Visio 2024 and Project 2024, which also both launched last month. In the decade since the release of Office 2016, there's been a tremendous amount of innovation in Microsoft's core productivity suites. Office, and now Microsoft 365 Apps, has gotten better every year with the launch of several new apps like Bookings, Whiteboard, and Loop, plus literally hundreds of new features and other enhancements to boost collaboration, security, and efficiency across the suite. And Coming from older versions of Office, I know it can be easy to just look for the version with the most recent year in the name and call it a day. But that's no longer the best path for most customers. As the focus of Microsoft innovation has moved to the cloud, the year-numbered version, Office LTSC, has become more of a niche product optimized for scenarios that need to stay disconnected from the internet or that require a fixed-in-time feature set. And because it's geared toward those scenarios, it's really a more limited solution. It doesn't include any modern collaboration or AI features. It doesn't get any feature updates after its release, and it can only be installed on a single device. For most customers, Microsoft 365 will provide a great deal more value. All of the cloud suites shown here, Apps for Enterprise, Office 365 E3, and Microsoft 365 E3, provide the latest cloud-backed versions of all your familiar apps, not only for desktop, but also for web and mobile. And each user can install them on up to 5 PCs, 5 tablets, and 5 mobile devices. As you move up the stack to Microsoft 365 E3, you get progressively more apps, cloud and content services like Exchange Online and SharePoint Online, a core set of device management, identity, security, and information protection workloads like Intune and Microsoft Purview, and of course, Windows 11 Enterprise. If your organization has been keeping some devices on-prem because they rarely connect to the internet or because they need to be shared across multiple users, we also have a few options available to help support those scenarios with the cloud suites: extended offline access and device-based licensing, which are both offered at no additional cost. And of course, if you're interested in exploring generative AI, getting to the cloud is an essential first step. Office LTSC doesn't qualify for or connect to the Microsoft 365 Copilot add-on, whereas the rest of these suites do. As we all move forward into the AI era, it's important to build a secure, supported foundation to take your organization into the future. By migrating older on-prem software to Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams, you can lay the groundwork for smarter, more efficient end-user productivity, protect your business from bad actors and accidental breaches, and empower IT to seamlessly deploy and secure enterprise applications, endpoints, and identities, all in one place. With that destination in mind, I'll hand things over to my colleague Eric to walk you through some of the steps you'll need to take to get there.
Thanks, Elisabeth. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about how to get started moving all of these products to supported versions. I'm going to cover 3 topics: how to figure out which devices in your environment are still running 2016 and 2019 clients, the first steps you'll need to take to migrate Office 2016 and Office 2019 clients to the cloud and the differences between them, and finally, I'll touch on some of the things you'll need to think about when you're preparing your Exchange and Skype for Business server migrations. When migrating Office 2016 and 2019 clients over to Microsoft 365 apps, first we need to identify and target devices in the environment that are still running Office 2016 or 2019. Let's take a look at how to do this. For identifying older builds in the environment, we can use Configuration Manager's hardware inventory scan if that's available to you, or we can use any registry query process looking for specific registry keys. For Office 2016, we'll search the uninstall hive for the presence of Office 2016 MSI keys. We'll need to look in 2 locations, as there may be both 32-bit and 64-bit versions of Office 2016 in the environment, and the keys get written in separate locations based on their architecture. The locations we'll want to search is local machine, software, 𝗦𝗲𝘀𝗀𝗏6432 node, Microsoft, Windows, current version, uninstall. And we can see right here, there's a 32-bit version of Office 2016 installed on this device. Like I mentioned, we'll also want to reg query the other location in the uninstall hive as well to catch 64-bit versions of Office 2016. That is located at local machine, software, Microsoft, Windows, current version, uninstall. And as you can see, there are some 64-bit components installed on this device, but not a 64-bit version of Office 2016. We would see the same key we saw earlier in the 32-bit hive here if there was a copy of 64-bit Office 2016 installed. So make sure to target both locations to catch 32 and 64-bit installs of Office 2016 when scanning your environment. For Office 2019, again, Configuration Manager users can use a hardware inventory scan or create a dynamic collection with a CDN base URL for Office 2019. Otherwise, a registry query search for the 2019 CDN base URL will find these devices as well. To find this registry key, navigate to Local Machine, Software, Microsoft, Office, click to Run, Configuration. The CDN base URL key is located here. This key is the same if you install 32 or 64-bit Office 2019, so no need to check other locations like we do with Office 2016. Once we have our devices targeted, we can move to installing Microsoft 365 apps on these devices and removing the older versions. The way we'll do that is different between 2016 and 2019 because of the switch from MSI to click-to-run technology. Let's start with Office 2016, which uses MSI. We will build out our configuration file for the Microsoft 365 apps using the Office Deployment tool. We recommend using the Create a New Configuration File feature from within the Microsoft 365 Apps Admin Center, which can be found at config.office.com. Additionally, the XML file settings for the Microsoft 365 apps are built into Configuration Manager's installation wizard as well. When building your install configuration file, we recommend selecting the monthly enterprise channel in almost all scenarios to get the most out of your subscription while staying stable and secure. Also, it's important to note that you need to be using either the monthly or current channel in order to use Microsoft 365 Copilot now or in the future. When we build our installation file, we'll want to leverage the Remove MSI feature from within the configuration file to do the heavy lifting for us when it comes to removing Office 2016 and older clients. Remove MSI will find any MSI Office products on the device we are targeting and remove the entire suite, including Standard, Professional Plus, Professional, Home and Business, Home and Student, as well as standalone products like Visio and Project. The Remove MSI feature will also target any language packs and custom proofing tools that have been installed for Office 2016 or lower, so everything gets cleaned up at once. Once you have your installation file built, we're ready to begin the migration. The Remove MSI feature will handle the uninstallation of Office 2016 first during the install process, so there's no need to go through and target these devices multiple times. This one step removes Office 2016 and installs Microsoft 365 apps together, which is designed to make your life a lot easier. With Office 2019, all of this is much simpler. Office 2019 uses the same click-to-run technology for installation and updates that we use for Microsoft 365 apps, which makes migration much smoother and painless. All we need to do is leverage a GPO in-group policy called Upgrade Office 2019 to Microsoft 365 Apps for Enterprise. This policy is located in the Updates folder within the Microsoft Office 2016 Machine folder under Computer Configuration. Setting this policy will automatically migrate 2019 over to Microsoft 365 Apps for Enterprise in the semi-annual channel. Once this migration has occurred, you'll want to change the update channel to monthly to help improve performance and get Copilot ready, and then you're done. If you're on a tighter timeline, you can also create a new Microsoft 365 apps package in Configuration Manager, or use the Office Deployment tool to build and configure a deployment that will go over the top of the current 2019 installation. You then go ahead and do a standard deployment of Microsoft 365 apps. No need to remove Office 2019 first. Whichever option you choose, I'd leave you with these three pieces of advice. First, before you start your migration, be sure to confirm that your users are licensed for Microsoft 365 and that your network has whitelisted all of the URLs required that you'll need for the Microsoft 365 to activate, update, and function properly. A list of those URLs is available at aka.ms/m365URLs. Second, you'll want to consider servicing frequency. In order to be Copilot ready, you'll need to be sure you're on the monthly enterprise channel or above. And finally, leveraging cloud updates offered through the Microsoft 365 Apps Admin Center at config.office.com is a nice simple way to make sure that your devices stay healthy and up to date. Switching gears a bit, let's turn from the Office clients to your server deployments. For Exchange Server, migrating to Microsoft 365 or Exchange Online is the best and simplest way to retire your server deployments facing end of support. You can migrate all email, calendar items, tasks, and contacts from user mailboxes to Microsoft 365 using cutover, stage, or Exchange hybrid migrations. This single hop to the Microsoft Cloud offers new features and advanced AI technologies that aren't available with on-prem servers. As you consider how to execute your cloud migration, we encourage you to visit aka.ms/ex online migration to review and understand your options. If you need to keep Exchange Server on-prem, you should consider upgrading to Subscription Edition or SE when it becomes available next year. The first step will be to ensure that your current deployment is up to date. You should be running Exchange Server 2016 CU23 or Exchange Server 2019 CU13 or 14. From there, you have two upgrade paths. First, you could do a legacy upgrade where you move to a new major version by introducing the newer server, migrating mailboxes and resources, and uninstalling old servers. Legacy upgrades are required for moving from Exchange 2016 to Exchange 2019 and from Exchange 2016 to Exchange Server SE. The second option is to do an in-place upgrade, which is much easier. In-place upgrades are similar to installing a CU. However, they're available only for upgrades from Exchange 2019 CU14 or CU15 to Exchange SE. If you're still on Exchange 2016, we highly recommend upgrading to Exchange 2019 now to enable an in-place upgrade to SE when it launches. For Skype for Business Server, the path forward is a lot like Exchange Server. Migrating to Microsoft Teams is the best and easiest option to help retire your Skype for Business Server deployment. As a first step, you can run Teams alongside Skype for Business in Islands mode, where both applications have overlapping capabilities, or you can assign other coexistence modes to prevent overlap and enable interoperability between Teams and Skype for Business. Organizations with significant Skype for Business server assets and complex enterprise voice deployments should consider using the Skype for Business with Teams Collaboration and Meetings mode, also known as Meetings First, to enjoy modern meetings quickly. For more information on how to get started, visit aka.ms/SFB2Teams. If you plan to keep Skype for Business Server on-prem, the path depends on your current version, just like Exchange. If you're currently using Skype for Business Server 2019, you can just keep your servers up to date and then upgrade in place to Subscription Edition when available. If you're currently running Skype for Business Server 2015, you should perform a legacy upgrade to the 2019 version now, and then do an in-place upgrade to SE early in the second half of 2025. Although legacy upgrades that go directly from 2015 to SE are possible, they're not recommended. Because the Subscription Edition doesn't launch until a few months before end of support, you could run out of time to complete your migration before your existing deployment reaches its end date. Finally, a couple last pieces of advice on migrating your servers. First, start as soon as possible. Decide what kind of migration you want to do and get going immediately to make sure you're prepared for October 2025. Second, if you're on a 2015 or 2016 version and planning to stay on-prem, get to 2019 now. Migrating to the 2019 versions of Exchange Server and Skype for Business Server as soon as possible will enable you to upgrade in place to Subscription Edition when it launches in 2025 and avoid running out of time. And finally, stay up to date to stay secure. Whether you keep everything on-prem or move some of your users to the cloud, make sure you're keeping all of your remaining on-prem servers up to date, now and in the future. And with that, I'll pass it back to Elisabeth to wrap up.
Thank you, Eric. October 2025 is going to creep up faster than any of us expect. If you're currently running any of the products we talked about here today, it's essential for you to take action now. After next October, continuing to use these products could put your organization at risk. To keep your environment secure and productive into the future, we recommend moving to the cloud with Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams. Or, if the cloud is not an option for you right now, make sure to keep your on-prem deployments up to date with the latest versions. Remember, migrations take time, especially for older versions and for larger deployments. To avoid any gaps next October, now is the time to start. To help you on your way, we've assembled a wealth of migration guidance and IT Pro training on Microsoft Learn at aka.ms/EOS2025. There you'll find resources to help walk you through many of the things we've discussed here today, including how to map your upgrade path, how to check your environment, and how to deploy your chosen solution. And remember, you're not alone. As you continue to weigh your options and plan your moves in the coming year, make sure to reach out to your account team or your preferred partner for personalized guidance and to discuss your specific needs and options. We'd also strongly recommend looking into getting assistance from Fast Track, which provides expert support throughout the migration process. Fast Track can help you plan, onboard, and drive adoption of Microsoft 365, ensuring a smooth transition with best practices, tools, and resources tailored to your needs. Fast Track assistance is available to customers with 150 or more licenses of eligible Microsoft 365 plans. Finally, do make some time to check out all of the related sessions here at Ignite to learn more about what's new and what's next across Microsoft 365. Thank you, and have a fantastic Ignite.